Okay, gang, welcome back. I'm going to try something a little bit different. I'm not really impressed with the slide set, especially for this chapter in entrepreneurship. And to be quite honest, I'm not impressed with it overall. But I do like the book. Number one, it's free. And number two, I think it covers what needs to be covered, and you guys don't have to pay a dime. So I'm all about that. By the way, yes, we do have a book. I say that because I can look in Brightspace. Did you know that I can tell exactly what you access and how many times you access and how long you've been there? Basically, none of y'all are doing the reading. So let's walk our way through the reading. So you've got like the PDF with the entire book, or I've broken it down by chapter. It's almost like I want you to read. It's crazy. Maybe these discussions will get a little better if you guys are, putting entrepreneurship in your head. If you hear some piano in the background, my daughter's currently taking a piano lesson downstairs. So you're like, man, are you going to scroll through like all 700 pages? No, I'm just showing you. Look, here are your chapters. And if I come right here, chapter 3, the ethical and social responsibilities of entrepreneurs, I can click it, and magically, boom, I go to the chapter we need. We start out looking at ethical and social responsibilities within entrepreneurship, and it's like any kind of business ethics. In fact, good news is business just added a business ethics class. So you'll be able to take that very soon. So it's a big thing. Doing the right thing is a big thing, and you would think that it's not something that's all that revolutionary. Like surely most people do the right thing. They don't. I can't even get you guys to do the reading and apply yourself in the discussion. Ethically, that's wrong. Now, you're not stealing from me. You're kind of stealing from yourself because you're paying tuition to learn entrepreneurship and you're not putting in the effort. That's on you, homie. If you hurt you, that's one thing. If you hurt other people, that's a whole nother ballgame. So let's take a look at my guy, Martin Shkreli, I think is how you say this. It's been a minute since I've heard his name. I think he's in prison and stuff. He was a guy who was in pharmaceuticals, kind of an entrepreneur. He was an investor. He'd buy companies that had quasi-successful drugs, and then he'd take over those drugs, and he really stepped in it when he bought, as Turing Pharmaceuticals, he bought a life-saving drug that combated HIV, the virus that causes AIDS. And overnight, he changed the price from $13.50, quite affordable, to $750 per pill. All right, pill per pill. That's 5,000% increase. This clown, you think that's ethical? Heck no, man. Is he being socially responsible? No way, man. Guess what? Dude's in prison, or at least I think he still is. He should be. That's just terrible. So if you buy something or you invent something and you have a patent on it, you do have exclusive right to it. But is it right to mark up the price overnight on a life-saving drug by 5,000%? Absolutely not. Obviously, that's easy. That's an easy call. Now, let's go ahead and jump into the first section here: ethical and legal issues in entrepreneurship. So, what are we trying to do here? First of all, you need to be able to recognize what ethical and legal issues are, but you also need to be able to recognize who the players are in the situation. So, secondly, you need to be able to give some solutions. Well, the players in the situation are stakeholders. So, stakeholders are your owner, your owners, people who own a lot of your stock, your shareholders, people who have a vested interest in your organization. So I'm a stakeholder in Spartanburg Methodist College. I'm a professor there. I don't own the college, but I've got a lot invested in the college, so I want to see it be successful. So I'm a stakeholder in Spartanburg Methodist College. If you're starting a business, you're obviously a stakeholder in your business. If you take on investors, you're a stakeholder in. They are a stakeholder rather in that business. So again, this is the reading. I do expect you to do it. The quiz comes straight from the reading. So how are you going to be an ethical entrepreneur? Well, if your whole plan is predicated on, let's say, predatory lending, then you're not an ethical entrepreneur. If your plan is on giving people some righteous bagels to eat every morning, you'll be rewarded by the market because I like bagels in the morning. So you have to uphold your own ethical standard. Now, the thing is your customers are going to have an ethical standard for you to hold on to as well. So how you conduct yourselves as entrepreneurs and as a company, you want to abide by the law and respect the rights of the stakeholders, and your customers are a stakeholder, man. If you got great bagels at your new business, trust me, your customers get invested. I have so many restaurants that I'm so invested in. Holy moly, man. That guacamole, though, all right? Those burritos are insane. Aren't they good? If you haven't been there, you need to check it out. I'm a stakeholder in holy moly. But if they start doing some sideways type ethical stuff, you can bet I'll stop going there. Maybe eventually. I still like the guacamole. So you have stakeholders like your customers, your clients, your employees, and the surrounding community and your environment that you serve, that you have to be an ethical entrepreneur. Do the right thing, right? I want you to check out something. Click on this link right here, the 10 principles of, not economics, but the 10 principles of the United Nations Global Impact. It's looking at a principled approach to business. That's a pretty cool thing to look at. You guys are looking at being entrepreneurs here in the United States, man. Worldwide, we have problems with property rights. We have problems with monopolies that you just can't penetrate. You guys should just thank the good Lord every night that you're in the U.S. and you can do stuff like this. So, what does it mean to be moral, ethical? Apply maybe your spiritual beliefs, your religious beliefs. They're the building blocks of what you want to be. You want to have respect, empathy, and honesty. All right. So you need to have some financial beliefs that drive how you behave as an entrepreneur. You want to be a moral person. You need to have integrity. Integrity means that you have a strong system of ethical values. Integrity means I can count on you to do your own work. Integrity means I can count on you not to try to plagiarize, that type of thing. So if you're going out and you're becoming like a CPA or an attorney or a financial person, or even just you're going to own a donut shop, you've got to be ethical when no one's looking. When you're reporting to the IRS how much money you make, okay? Trust me, I've thought about this a million different ways with businesses I've owned and my own personal stuff. You know what? I'm not smart enough to cheat the IRS, and I'm also not dumb enough to try. So find that happy median, have some integrity, and just report your income as it is. Or else you can join my man in prison. All right? So take some pride in doing the right thing, like doing the reading. Let me tell you what, the most important thing in your organization is going to be your culture. And how you set that culture. Is it a harassment culture where people can call people names? Is it a value of the customer culture where everything's predicated on making sure the customer has a valuable experience? Chick-fil-A, right? My pleasure. They want to make sure everything's perfect. Do we think behind closed doors Chick-fil-A is like a very different place where they're like, gambling and running a prostitution ring or something? I don't think so. I just pretty much feel like that's their culture. I'm comfortable going there. That brings value to me as a customer. So you want people to value your customers. You want them to value the stuff you need to read. Equifax data breach. So if a company has like a data breach, let's say you have a bunch of customer information on file, passwords and that type of thing, and someone hacks in. You can't help that. That's not your fault. But what you can help is how you respond. So are you going to let your customers know that you had a data breach and they need to watch their bank accounts or they need to change their passwords, that type of thing? Yes, that's the ethical thing to do. Or you guys, give me a little feedback. I hope you like this new approach. It's almost like I'm going through your reading and making a podcast. I like this. You might hate it. I don't know. I'm trying to make it entertaining, right? So hopefully by now you've developed a moral compass. You know what's right or wrong. You need to bring that on over to entrepreneurship. Now, you're going to get put in some situations you may not normally be in, like dealing with large amounts of money and that type of thing, but make sure you're checking the old north on that moral compass there a little bit. So what are some legal issues in entrepreneurship? Well, it's the same as any kind of business, okay? You have legal issues that are laid out in this funky looking graphic here. All these legal issues are going to follow you wherever you are. You might have a legal issue of intellectual property. You might invent something and you need to get that thing patented and protected. And everybody's like, well, I can't afford a lawyer. You can't afford not to have a lawyer if you've invented something. You need to protect your IP. You're going to have to deal in contracts. Again, you're going to need a lawyer. If you grow, I hope you get to a point where you grow into the point you have antitrust issues. That means you're basically becoming a monopoly. Good for you. It can be, U-Haul, not like the hall, but I mean like your hall, like, if your name is John Doe, it could be the John Doe building, but you can give some money and get a tax break to SMC, and you can create the Keesler School of Business. That'd be okay. So you have to deal with the issues of fraud, like somebody's cooking your books. Holy smokes. Almost every small business I know has had a bookkeeper who was cheating on the books, and they got caught and fired. Isn't that something? I mean, literally almost every one of them. It happens all the time. So you as an owner, if you have a bookkeeper, you also need to know how to keep the books. That's why we make you take accounting and stuff. All right? Not because you're doing the day-to-day, say, payroll, but you need to be able to double check on the person behind you, or else you're going to have a legal issue where, ding dong, the FBI's there and they want to see what's up with your taxes. You have legal issues related to employment. You have to have, most of you guys work. That's why I love SMC. You guys got a chip on your shoulder. You work and go to school. You have like a break room that says, hey, know your rights, and it posts all that. Yeah, you're going to have to post that if you open up a bagel shop. And then you have to deal with torts. You're going to get sued. Get ready for it. If you're in business, you're going to get sued. It's just going to happen. That's why you have to carry liability insurance. Okay? So you have many legal issues facing you. Don't worry, we're going to cover a lot of this in this course. So your intellectual property, again, we talk about things like patents, copyrights, and trademarks. We walk through that. It's commonly called IP. Here's what a patent looks like if it's like an invention. Okay, design patent. See this? I believe this is Tesla. Yeah, Nikola Tesla's electric magnetic motor. So he had to get a patent on it, and still somebody kind of stole it. And then there's the design of the Coca-Cola bottle over here. I was like, wait a minute, that looks like a Coca-Cola. Yep, that's what that is. So that's pretty unique, right? So Pepsi can't roll out and just say, hey, here's our can, here's our new bottle. They can't do that. That's Coca-Cola. That makes it yours. That gives you a monopoly. So if you want to become a millionaire in this country, you want to become a billionaire, find a way to create or destroy a monopoly. How do you create a monopoly? You can trademark it and copyright it. All right, so that's exclusive, exclusive right to reproduce a work. So like a painting or something, or a story or a book or something. Trademark is something that's like your name, symbol, or jingle. I have a fitness company called Mongoose Fitness. You can't have that name. No, sir, for real, I have that. And I've got a trademark pending on the name Mongoose Fitness. Isn't that cool? Mongooses. Design patent, utility patent, that's for things that are like physical. So you get a patent on something that's like tangible. You get a copyright on something that's a production of art, like a writing. You get a trademark on like a name. So if you get like a cool name. There's stuff like trade secrets. So if you have like a secret recipe or something like that, you can actually make it a trade secret and protect yourself with intellectual property. Mickey D's, man. I love the movie Coming to America. If you haven't seen it, tune into like Comedy Central at some point. It's always on. They have a company called McDonald's, and they even have the golden. Well, what do you call it? McDonald's has the golden arches, and Mr. McDowell has the golden. Crap, I can't remember. Watch the movie; it's funny. I am Akeem. Check that out. Writings like Common Sense. Okay. From Thomas Paine, one of the seminal works that actually led to the revolution. Teaching political science here, so I'm trying to stay on task. Look, I'm recording this thing and I still do commercial breaks, huh? Contracts and torts, things that you've got to have lawyers involved. You can't go cheap, all right? It's going to take some money up front. I got people wanting to do all kinds of things, from car washes to bakeries to clothing shops to makeup lines. You need an attorney. Because if you're not being sued now, you will be sued eventually, okay? And you need somebody to protect you, and you need somebody who knows what they're doing writing your contracts. I know that's expensive up front, but what you got to remember as an entrepreneur, you're not trying to make your money up front. You're trying to make a lot of money for a long time. That doesn't mean in the next 30 days. In the next 30 days, I'm going to need you to take care of your legal stuff. Make sure you've got airtight contracts with your vendors, with your customers, whatever it is, that make sure you're going to get your bottom line. All right? Antitrust laws, I hope you get there. Most of you guys have taken me with macroeconomics. We talk a lot about Sherman Act, Clayton Act, monopolies. Actually, we talk about that in microeconomics. Most of the antitrust acts that you see, and I'm not really testing you guys on this, but most of the antitrust acts that you see, look at this, 1890, 1914, 1914. Now a little bit of an update on 1980 when it came to inventions, but this stuff isn't recent. This is airtight legislation that still stirs the drink today. Conflicts of interest, you got to be really, really careful there. For example, if you're serving on the board of some kind of company and you get news that the stock's about to go down, you sell your stock, guess what? You just committed a federal crime. You're going to prison. Ask Martha Stewart. But, she recovered, did her time, came back out. Now she's got a cooking show with Snoop Dogg. So there you go. Unless you don't want to go that route, you would maintain an awareness of your conflicts of interest. A lot of this happens when you're working for a company that's really, really growing and you start hiring family members. There's a conflict of interest there. Because, if your mom is working a shift with another one of your workers and one of those, they have a conflict, you have a conflict of interest, and that one of them is your mother. So you have to be very careful how you set up your situations against your employees, because this conflict of interest can lead to scrolling, some kind of tort where you get sued. Well, she hired her mom, so she always sides with her, and she got rid of me because her mom didn't like me, so I'm suing for wrongful termination. That's a problem. Conflict of interests are a problem. Fraud, truthfulness, disclosure. Basically, you're cooking the books, you're stealing, you're doing something, you're not doing fair. You guys know how I feel about fair. I still feel fair. It's a place where pigs go get ribbons. Unfair is the existence of pediatric cancer. That said, you have to be basically right, just, and equitable with your employees, even if one of them is your mom. You need to have full disclosures. You need to be transparent and truthful. If you know for a fact, let's give a scenario. Let's say you're managing your bakery, and you see your employee drop a bagel. It hits the floor. They pick it up, dust it off, and hand it to a customer, and that customer's going to eat it. Ethically, what should you do? Now, there's some incentive there to keep your mouth shut, and then no one ever knows that they got served a dirty bagel. But ethically, what's the right thing to do? Run over there, knock it out of their hand, offer them a full refund, and then give them 12 bagels for free. Ethically, you just did the right thing. If I have a shop that realizes I'm about to eat a dirty bagel, and they run over and do something like that, I'll never go to another place. Now, if they hit me really hard, I might go some other place. But at the end of the day, you know you're taking care of your customer. Corporate social responsibility and social entrepreneurship. Hey, what is social responsibility? What is social entrepreneurship? Social responsibility is taking a look at the society and being aware of what's good for the society, not just what's good for me or you. Corporate is like everything, everybody together. Social entrepreneurship is actually something that is really an emerging, that's not an emerging field, it's been here, but it's really growing. Social entrepreneurship is entrepreneurship, whereas you're solving a problem, you're taking on risk and solving a problem, but you do it for social reasons. So a social entrepreneur might collect litter in a park and make art out of it, okay? They might collect bottles floating in a river and turn them into kayaks. That's social entrepreneurship and also socially responsible. That said, they're typically nonprofits, but the only difference between a for-profit and a nonprofit, say it with me, family, one tax form. Still got to run your nonprofit like a profit, or else you won't be running your nonprofit for long. Corporate social responsibility, CSR, we kind of covered that. I'll let you read about that. You got to do all this reading. You do. All right. You have legal, financial, ethical, social, philanthropic areas of responsibility. You hope that you comply with laws, that you make profits, and you act fairly or avoid doing harm to people, and you're a good corporate citizen. Now, compliance, in terms of legal, you're required to comply with laws and regulation. In terms of profits, you're required by shareholders to make money, or else I'm going to dump your stock. And you're expected to treat people fairly. That's from your stakeholders, your employees, your customers, everything. It's not very fair for your employee to serve someone a dirty bagel. That's just not cool. Your stakeholders, both the employee and the customer, I would have a serious conversation with that employee if they tried to serve my other stakeholder, the customer, a dirty bagel. Gross, right? So I started out this kind of podcast lecture thing, craving some bagels. Mustn't be like short on carbs or something. But now, after I think about dropping on a restaurant floor, not so much, man. And then being a good corporate citizen, your image to society is your corporate citizenship. So if your image is tarnished, people are going to think highly of you. But if people think you're socially responsible, man, they're going to wheel in there and do business with you all day long. So let's look at a couple. Chevron, they pollute, man. Volkswagen, they lied about their diesel emissions and got caught. Takata, they were doing the airbags and they were like blowing up in people's face, literally killing people, burning people. GM had some problems with some initial ignition switch problems. Wells Fargo, they were doing some jacked up banking. British Petroleum tried to, ruin the Gulf of Mexico. Enron, have mercy. This is well before your time, but you want to see something who was ethically challenged? There's about 5 people at Enron that cost about 100,000 people their entire retirement. They were putting a bunch of money in Enron stock, and then boom, ding dong, FBI shows up. Hey, let's look at your books. Yeah, they were cooking the books, and their stock went to zero overnight, and everybody that was invested in them lost everything. Pfizer, Eli Lilly, a lot of pharmaceuticals making fraudulent marketing claims. U.S. Corps of Engineers really took it on the chin with Katrina. It turns out that how they had set up. Well, first of all, New Orleans is in a bowl. It's below sea level, so you do the math on that. But the jetties that they had set up did not protect against hurricane surge. Toyota, uncontrollable vehicle acceleration. Next time I get a speeding ticket, I'm going to blame it on that because my truck's a Toyota. Nike Corporation, breach of trust, conduct labor laws, paying kids 10 cents an hour to be basically slave labor. Intel got into it with the Europeans, but that's the Europeans, who cares? Flint, Michigan still doesn't have drinkable water. That's a mess. Far more. Bernard L. Madoff Investment Securities, LLC. Dude had a Ponzi scheme. Ponzi schemes, whereas, some people who have paid in money. So, I take on you as an investor, and I'm using the money to pay somebody else I took on 6 months ago. And then I'm keeping a bunch of the money, but really all your investments are fake on paper. I've been spending your money on alligator shoes. Now the guy's name was Bernie Madoff. So he made off with your cash. I can't believe people are surprised by that. Actually, the New York Mets was one of his biggest investors. He almost had a Major League Baseball team go broke because they gave all their money to a guy named Madoff. I'm not really going to a restaurant called, Food Sucks. Like if the chef's name is Bernie L. Food Sucks, and then I'm going to be surprised that the food sucks? No. Bernie L. made off with my cash. That's what happened. Those cats didn't have that moral compass I'm talking about. So don't fail your stakeholders. Take care of them. Social entrepreneurship describes how ventures launched by entrepreneurs who are first and foremost advocates and champions of a social cause. There can be a lot of different social causes. This could be something about educating kids. This could be something about helping pregnant women. This could be something about helping spousal abuse, the environment, you name it, anything good. You guys, actually, several of you have social entrepreneurship ideas, which are really great. Environmental entrepreneurship, sort of in that same vein as social entrepreneurship, but focus mainly on clean and renewable resources, waste management. I once met a guy when we first started Entrepreneurship Club at SMC, and he would go around and collect all the leftover biodegradables like eggshells and old carrots and all that stuff. So from the calf. And I actually met him through SMC. President Cocker knew him and introduced me, and we started talking. And he gets the leftover food from restaurants. The restaurants pay him to come pick up this stuff, including the cooking grease. He mixes it all together, mixes in some dirt that he gets from free from somewhere else. I forget that part. And he makes potting soil out of it. He gets his inputs for free. No, in fact, the calf and a lot of other restaurants like Jason's Deli and all, they pay him to come pick this stuff up. So they don't have to pay someone to haul it off in a dumpster. So he gets paid to pick it up. He takes it back to his farm or his business or whatever, mixes it up, makes potting soil. Then he turns around, bags the potting soil, and sells that. And he is environmental entrepreneurship. He's a genius is what he is. He gets his inputs for free. Nay, he gets paid to take them. And then all he has to do is process them, and he sells an output. That is phenomenal. It's all in environmental entrepreneurship. That stuff doesn't end up in a landfill now. Sustainability. So is this a type of business, and you're establishing something that can not only be good for people now, but also good for future and generations. So sustainability really has two different things. It could be, hey, is your business sustainable? Or are you going to have enough cash flow, that type of thing? That's not really what we're talking about here. We're talking about sustainability, sustainable ethical standards, sustainable ethical practices, sustainable environmental minimal impact. I think you get, I hope you get what I'm trying to get at there. Responsible entrepreneurs and social entrepreneurship opportunities. I adore the story of Tom's Shoes. Okay, so I'm going to spend a little bit of time just paraphrasing this right here. Tom's Shoes was Blake Mycoskie, I think. Mycoskie, I think is how you say it. So 206. So I'm sorry, 2006. It's been a while since we've been in the 200 somethings. 2006. Dude was traveling in Argentina. He was 29 years old. He was like a serial entrepreneur. He was just on his fourth startup. All right. He was doing online driver's education for teens. And he was just traveling the world. And I think, was he? Yeah. He was competing in the Amazing Race. And he met a woman volunteering on a shoe drive who explained that many kids lack shoes. So a lot of people in the world actually don't have shoes. And it just struck him. Like he was just struck by this woman. He was struck by third world nations, even second world nations, where people were just going around with shoes. They never had a pair of shoes. So he started a shoe-based charity. He would solicit, instead of soliciting shoe donations, like I go to a running store quite often to get new running shoes, and they have a bin that you can throw your old running shoes in. They donate them to like villages in Africa. It's actually through my church. But instead of doing that, he tied it into his business. He started like a pretty simple, Tom's shoes are actually pretty comfortable. He started like a simple shoe company. And, long story short, there's like, I want to skip down to this excerpt because it actually is from Entrepreneur Magazine. That's where I read this. I remember this. I love Entrepreneur Magazine. Well, anyway, Tom's Shoes, every pair of shoes you buy now, they make a donation to this fund that helps people get shoes in the world. So that's some social entrepreneurship right there. And it also creates goodwill, because if I can look at two pairs of shoes or two different shoe stores, and I know one pair of shoes or one shoe store is actually going to donate shoes if I buy shoes there, whereas the other one, I could get this similar pair of shoes, but they're not going to do a social good, I'm going with the one that's going to help the poor kids. So that's a way to help your reputation there. So, global girlfriend. Okay, click that, guys. Identifying your values and mission. One of the first things I'm going to ask you to do when we start working on a business model is you need to write what your mission statement is. And your mission statement is what you do for a business and how you want to do it. And so, I'll try to come up with a quick mission statement for what I am as a professor. I install human capital so that my students can change their lives and the lives of others. That's a mission statement. So I teach you so you can change your own financial trajectory, and then you hopefully will help those around you. Now, you guys both know that I believe thoroughly that we give and inherit the world. The generation before me is handing me the world right now. I'm going to hand it to you, and you're going to hand it to my kids. So I need you to have a moral compass to take care of the world, because eventually, I don't know if you can hear that piano downstairs. My little girl's going to take over this world. She's going to get it from you. So I need you to have some values, all right? I need you to have a moral compass. In fact, there's a compass right there. Let's see here. Go through this exercise of identifying your values. It'll help you write your mission statement for your end-of-class business plan. A lot of you guys aren't thinking about that right now. I can tell because the discussions have been way too light. You're writing your business plan every time you reply to a discussion. Or at least you need to be thinking that way, because you're eventually going to have to write, say the business map later. Those of you that got like 95s and 100s on that discussion, you gave me something that's probably worth mentioning in your business map later on. Those of you that got well below those scores, not so much. All right. Come up with a mission statement. Again, workplace culture is huge. Okay, bigly. All right. You want to set the expectation that everyone does the right thing at all times. All right, you want to value your people, their stakeholder, but you want to make sure that they know it's not okay to drop a bagel on the floor and then hand it to a customer. That stuff's not cool. So you want people to be accountable. You want them to own it. Culture, culture, culture. It's the number one thing I look at when I'm hiring colleagues. All right, number one thing I look at when my wife's practice is hiring people, when we're, when I'm taking on consulting jobs, I don't want to work with somebody who's just like, questionable of nature, because if they're questionable, they might ask me to do questionable things. I don't take on those jobs. Plus, if you're like kind of shady, am I going to get paid or what? So yeah, think about that. Don't do business with people who are questionable. Anchoring strategies. Basically, your anchoring strategy is you set an expectation up front. Listen, do the right thing every time and you'll be fine. Okay? Have something to where every day you come back to it, whether it's an employee huddle, every day before you open up the donut shop or the bagel shop and you say, listen, today we're going to do the right thing by the customer every time. All right? That's an anchoring strategy. You want to make sure you're having people reinforce what the right thing is to do. You want to be proactive versus reactive. Reactive is just putting out fires left and right. Proactive is anticipating what's going to happen and moving forward. Anticipating before it happens, and so when it does happen, you have a plan. All right. Let you guys read about this. This is actually a pretty good graphic about excellence, fairness, and trust. It goes back to being ethical. I'll let you guys read more about that. I would encourage you to develop a grander purpose. So have something. Yes, sure. My job pays me. I pay the bills with that. We go to what used to be Ice Creams Mountain. Now it's like Tropical Smoothie Cafe. And, that's fun. But my grander purpose in being an educator is changing your life. And for you to take that change and change the other people's lives. If we create that ripple effect, look out. That's my grander purpose. I really want to change the trajectory of your life. But to do that, you got to do the reading. I hope you're watching this video. If you're watching this video, hey, man, appreciate it. Otherwise, I'm sitting here wasting like an hour of my time where, I could be downstairs playing with my kids. So, hey, if you feel guilty, there you go. Chances are, though, if you're listening to this, I realize it's a conundrum, you are listening, so I should just shut up and move on. If you have a grander purpose, you actually have greater satisfaction. Develop your people. Help them. Help them to help themselves. Make sure you're being responsible and ethical. Enhancing livelihoods. Dude, is a part of your culture, you want to let people know that if there's a problem, that's great. Bring me problems, but also bring me a solution. Because if I have someone working in a manufacturing floor and they have a problem, chances are I'm not aware of even the whole, entails of their job. But they may already have a solution in mind. And chances are, if they can present that solution when they bring a problem, you're going to have so much more creativity and innovation. So be problem solvers. Tell your people, listen, it's okay to bring a problem, but I also want you to bring a solution. Now, management might not go with your solution, all right? But if you're the type of person who brings solutions and not, problem, you bring a problem and a solution, you're not just a problem recognizer. Anybody can do that. You can sit around and just complain about it in a barbershop. Look at this problem. Look at that problem. Bring solutions. And encourage your employees to bring solutions, because you'll have far less headaches when you have employees that take ownership. They're actually more invested as stakeholders, and if you treat them right, they won't go anywhere. And also pay efficiency wages. Efficiency wages is something in economics where you pay people slightly more than what they're worth, and that way they don't quit, and they don't quit, you don't have to replace them. If they don't have to replace them, they get better and better at their jobs. And if you create a culture of both ethical behavior and creativity and innovation, look out. So you'll have results. Excellence factors. I kind of like this. Excellence is kind of my word this year. Success versus excellence. Excellence is you being better than you were yesterday, getting better every day. Success is me being better than you and you being better than me. That's kind of competitive. That's okay in certain situations, but what you're after is excellence. I want you to be the best entrepreneur that you can be. And it takes all of these things here. Ethics is a big part of it. Again, create a workplace where ethical behavior is encouraged. And let me tell you what the value of diversity, okay? Diversity is things between, characteristics, an innate, they get a lot of different characteristics related to gender, color, race, national origin, religion, and age. I live in a neighborhood now that's incredibly diverse. It's awesome. I literally, I'm trying to think of the neighbors next to me and across the street. I don't have two of the same ethnicities, and I think it's awesome because when one starts cooking, we're all like, that smells interesting, and then somebody invites them over. I've had leg of lamb. I've had the best barbecue ribs I've ever had. I've had some Indian food that I don't even understand what it was, but it was delicious. Life is better with diversity, and so is your entrepreneurial approach. Businesses are better with diversity. We need people with diverse skill sets. We need people with diverse perspectives. If you're a company that's looking to go global and you're going to sell to a lot of different kinds of people, let me tell you, best tip I have is employ a lot of different kinds of people, because then you can ask your own employees, hey, what does this community think about this? Would this work there? Would this work here? And especially if you're going global. So diversity is key. It's also a legal requirement as you get bigger. Gender equality. Please don't pay females less than males. That's not cool. Guys, they're smarter than us. If you've had me for econ, we've had that whole thing. We don't have time here. You want people to know that they can trust you, and you want to be able to trust them. You also need to hold everyone ethically accountable. Please read Sharon Watkins in Enron. This is, it's kind of the point of the chapter. Please read that. If you make a mistake, own it. Admit that you made a mistake, that you made a failure, you have shortcomings. We all are going to fail, man. Entrepreneurship might as well be the word failure. Communicate the nature of the problem to the major stakeholders. So, let's go back to the bagel example. Okay, you're the manager of your bakery. You see your employee drop a bagel, blow it off, pick it up, blow it off, and then hand it to a customer. Run to that customer and say, I'm sorry, that bagel hit the floor. You cannot eat that. That's admitting. Then communicate the nature of the problem to the major stakeholders. You can communicate to the customer, listen, I'm sorry this happened. Okay. This will never happen again. Here's a card for 12 free bagels. Your other stakeholder then is your employee that thought that was okay to do that. Again, it's hypothetical. Tell them that you could have made someone sick. So we're talking about side effects, causes of the problem, and we do not behave like that. Take the necessary and immediate steps to address the issue and stop the bleeding, they say. So if it's like, hey, holy crap, if I just saw that person do it once, what are the times when I'm not seeing them do that? Make sure that doesn't happen. You don't necessarily have to fire someone right away unless they're saying, yeah, I'm just going to keep doing that. Yeah, get rid of them. But just say, we don't do that here. Don't ever do that again. If I ever see that again, you're done. You're also taking care of the customer here, and then immediately you gave them another bagel for free and gave them the money back, and you're going to take care of them. Conduct a thorough and unbiased root cause analysis to identify the underlying cause. Why did that person think that was okay? Do other people think that that's okay? We can't have a whole bakery full of people dropping food on the floor and giving it to people. Address any people or systematic gaps that caused the problem in the first place. Yeah, you think that's funny? You're not going to work here anymore. Do not do that. And put in place measures that will prevent the repeat of the same mistakes. With the bagel example, I think threatening to fire them is probably pretty solid. You also need to provide some training on how some people get sick from food off the floor, and how I've simply found that if you take people and say, hey, hypothetically speaking, take your shoes off and put yourself in my shoes. I'm an owner of this business. If it gets out that we're dropping food on the floor, we're going to close. Or if you're on the other side of the counter and you're getting food and you get back to your table or whatever and you see there's like dirt in it, you're never coming back here again. So either way, you're not going to have a job. So please take care of my stakeholders a little better than that. So there's a good action item there. In fact, why don't we do this? If you guys want, in the discussion here, I know I asked a lot of questions, but how about like in your business, if you made a mistake, make up something like the bagel dropping on the floor. We've got people who are trying to do like a car wash, that type of thing. What if you scratch somebody's car? How are you going to handle that? We've got people that are, I'm trying to think of another example, that are open bakeries. So you use a similar example. We've got people that are doing makeup lines in this class. What if you find out that one of your chemicals that you're using to make up your makeup line is actually harmful? How are you going to react to that? Are you going to hide it? That's not ethical. Or are you going to go through these 7 steps here? So if you want to guarantee 100 in discussion, do these 7 steps, and then reply to 2 of your classmates substantively. Initial discussion post is due Wednesday night, as always. 2 substantive follow-ups, something other than, yeah, I agree. Add to the conversation, please. That is due on Sunday night. That is me walking you through your reading. Now I need you to walk yourself through the reading. I'm curious. Shoot me an email, see if you like this approach with lecture. I might keep it up. I just feel like the PowerPoints are kind of lame, at least for this chapter. If you guys want to see more of this, let me know. If you think it's terrible, just drop the class then. Cool. I'm doing my best to get back to the front of the chapter. It's a kind of a long chapter, so I'm glad I helped walk you through it. But you know what? This is a senior level class, so act like it. Act like it. Here we go. Oh. Enron, man, that's so jacked. So jacked. Ooh. Coming to America, good movie. Maybe watch the edited version on Comedy Central. If you watch the unedited version, it's almost like a different movie. So you guys let me know if you have any questions about this chapter. The ethical and social responsibilities of entrepreneurs. Have a good one.